We are so excited to have you with us tonight to celebrate Bet Tzedek's 50th anniversary. And now, please join us in welcoming to the stage Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors Chair, Lindsay Horvath.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for welcoming me back to Bet Tzedek. It is an absolute pleasure to be here to celebrate your 50th anniversary and the essential work that Bet Tzedek does to protect our most vulnerable communities. I want to thank Board Chair Linda G. Michelson, yeah, Linda, and Executive Director Diego Cartagena for your leadership and your friendship. I also want to thank all of the wonderful people who are serving us tonight. And I want to thank the wonderful workers at Bet Tzedek who protect our most vulnerable. Thank you very much. And I would also love to acknowledge and congratulate tonight's honorees, Adam S. Umanoff, Angel City Football Club, and Amy Peckner. Congratulations. As the youngest member of the Board of Supervisors, this year serving as chair, I have the great fortune of ushering in a new generation of leadership in Los Angeles County. And while tonight we celebrate 50 years and what life looked like in 1974, I don't have much direct experience as I wasn't born yet. But my dad, who is here tonight, Bill Horvath, that's so nice. In 1974, my dad was in the Midwest, focused on building his business with his expertise in electrical engineering. Fun fact, that year he had the chance to work on the shock-absorbing front bumper that changed cars forever. I encourage you to ask him about it tonight, but be careful, he talks. 50 years later, many of us return to this room, and each year we hear moving stories from those whose lives are changed through Bet Tzedek's essential work. As a county supervisor, I want you to know that members of my community, particularly those who are often voiceless, are well cared for when they turn to community agencies for support. For the 80,000 families and individuals served by Bet Tzedek each year, we know care and compassion are at the forefront of all you do. In a time when we're working to end the humanitarian crisis of homelessness, Bet Tzedek is stepping up to support LA County residents with eviction cases and other tenants' rights issues. Bet Tzedek's legal services are truly invaluable to our community. And we know services are not rendered in a vacuum. In 2016, Bet Tzedek stepped up to assist many facing immigration legal challenges and fears. I don't have to tell anyone in this room that hate and anti-Semitism are rampant across the world and right here in Los Angeles. In January, my office led the creation of a Jewish community safety plan for LA County in concert with Jewish community partners from across the region, and this effort has only become all the more important in this moment. Jewish people around the world have just concluded celebrating Passover, one of the most significant holidays in the Jewish tradition. Passover celebrations celebrate freedom from slavery, and we know there are far too many who are not free to be who they are and to celebrate their Judaism. Bet Tzedek is a beacon of hope and light for so many people, even in the darkest of times, helping to provide a path to freedom, justice, and stability. As we continue to work through crises and issues on a local, state, and national level, Los Angeles County is made stronger by organizations like Bet Tzedek. Thank you to all of you, the activists, the organizers, the volunteers, and our beloved staff who work tirelessly to serve and assist our community. Los Angeles County, yes, please give them a round of applause. Los Angeles County looks forward to another 50 years in partnership with Bet Tzedek. Congratulations and mazel tov.
Tonight, the Jack H. Skirball Community Justice Award will be presented by Bet Tzedek Employment Rights Senior Attorney Matthew DeCarolis.
Good evening. As we celebrate 50 years of Bet Tzedek's invaluable work, I am honored to introduce the 2024 Jack H. Skirball Community Justice Award winner, my colleague and dear friend, Amy Peckner. Tonight, we are all looking back to 1974. I wasn't born yet, but my parents were newlyweds in Erie, Pennsylvania, where I grew up. They were with me 31 years later in 2005, when I graduated from law school and began my work in Bet Tzedek's Employment Rights Project. A few years later, Amy joined our development department. Our clients and our community are so much better off today thanks to Amy's tireless work in the intervening 16 years. There is no person more deserving of the Skirball Award in this milestone year than Amy. The Skirball Foundation established this award as a tribute to the legacy of Jack H. Skirball. It recognizes a Bet Tzedek employee whose service embodies Mr. Skirball's commitment to his community. Unfortunately, I never met Mr. Skirball, yet I'm confident that he would be thrilled to see Amy receive the award. It is fitting that Amy is the first person outside of the legal department to win the Skirball Award. She and our colleagues in the external affairs, operations, and finance departments make it possible for us advocates to provide high-quality, cutting-edge legal services for our clients without charging them anything. We would not be able to offer those services or even be here tonight if it weren't for Amy. Her 12 months of behind-the-scenes efforts culminated in 1,000 of us gathering to celebrate Bet Tzedek and raise the funds that will enable us to continue doing our work. She coordinates all aspects of the dinner gala and leads the many people who make it possible. To accomplish this, Amy is organized, persistent, insightful, and dedicated. At the same time, she is kind and compassionate, all without taking herself too seriously. It is a testament to Amy that so many of her friends, family, and former colleagues have joined her tonight and placed ads in her honor. I, too, count Amy as a cherished friend. Moreover, I am blessed to have become an honorary member of the Peckner family, especially becoming close to Amy's indefatigable and larger-than-life mother, Doris Peckner. Doris is with us here after spending the past several months kvelling about her daughter's award, as she should. Doris and her late husband, Don, are such pillars of Amy's life. They and Amy's family instilled in her and her siblings, Lloyd and Nancy, the importance of tikkun olam, repairing the world, which we are privileged to do every day at Bet Tzedek. Before Amy comes to the stage, let's appreciate her by watching this short video about her impact at Bet Tzedek.
Whether it's the finance team, HR, external affairs, and the program team, we are all parts of the puzzle that is Bet Tzedek. And I'm grateful to be the Skirball honoree this year to represent a piece of the puzzle that hasn't been seen before. My mom, Doris, is a big influence on me. My dad was a very kind, giving person. They were great role models for me in terms of doing volunteer work and caring about social justice. Growing up in Los Angeles, my father had been an attorney, my mother was a paralegal, but ironically, I had not heard of Bet Tzedek, but then toward the end of 2007, I applied and I had a lot of interviews. Part of the interview process was actually attending the gala, and I guess they wanted to see how we did in this large setting. And you know, the old saying, fake it till you make it. That night I did, because this was the job I wanted and I was getting it.
Hi Amy, how are you? When Amy came to Bet Tzedek, we were serving about 10,000 clients a year and operating with a budget around $5 million. As I sit here tonight, we have a budget of about $20 million and are serving upwards of 80,000 clients a year. We would not be where we are as an organization without Amy's guidance and expertise.
I think Amy sees her role at Bet Tzedek as personally responsible for funding all of us so that we can help serve the community.
We are on the program side, are very client focused. Our job day in and day out is to translate an individual's interest into an argument we can make in court. Similarly, I think the development side uses a certain language with donors. They have a different lexicon. I find in talking to Amy, she gets that and she's able to translate pretty quickly, both what she's hearing from funders and from her team into something that I can hear and relate to as a program manager, and we can move forward quickly.
Yeah, it's coming along. It's kind of nerve-wracking thinking about speaking at the event.
I don't even want to begin to imagine the complexity of putting on an event like tonight.
The gala is the biggest source of unrestricted funds for Bet Tzedek, and that money is so important because it allows us to pivot quickly and meet the needs of the community as it arises. A lot of our work is funded by grants, and we have specific grant requirements we must meet and people we can serve. But with the unrestricted funding, we can use that money for whatever we feel the community needs or that the community tells us that they need.
Unrestricted funds also allows Bet Tzedek to do something really special. One of the things that Bet Tzedek does so well is it builds experts and then retain them and allow them to be experts in their field at Bet Tzedek for years and years. Unrestricted funds is really the only way that we can do that.
They've already given 10, and we are hoping they will give 25.
I certainly have heard Amy refer to herself as a professional nagger, and I get it. It's part of the work. When you are raising money, you have to remind people that you're not only raising money, but you're looking to raise money from them, and they have yet to respond. To me, when she says professional nagger, it more speaks to her doggedness. It speaks to her determination, because she knows how every one of those dollars matters, and she doesn't give up.
I've worked at Bet Tzedek for 16 years. That is not the typical lifespan for a development officer at a nonprofit agency. I am at Bet Tzedek because I find the work we do to be so profound. The impact helps people when they need it the most. And I just want to keep doing this work that helps change the world.
Thank you, Matt. If you're a lucky person, you have a friend like Matt DeCarlis. If you're a really lucky person, you are friends with Matt DeCarlis. In 1974, I was a shy, quiet kid in elementary school. Most of the time, I had my nose in a book. I do have memories of Nixon resigning, but as a child, I didn't understand the impact that that moment had for so many. The fact that my Bet Tzedek colleagues chose me to receive this award is so meaningful to me. I work with some of the smartest, funniest, and most caring people I've ever met. It's wonderful to feel appreciated, and man, oh Manischewitz, I've been feeling the love ever since I found out that I was the 2024 Skirball recipient. Oh, stop. I'm also very grateful to be the first person outside the program team to receive this award. There are 2 additional firsts I never thought I'd experience at one of our galas. I'm wearing 3-inch heels. And even weirder, I'm not wearing a headset. After running this event for 12 years, seating control is extremely challenging. Thank you, Jackie, for wearing the headset tonight. I'm also, yep. Thank you. Thanks, Jax. I'm also very grateful to my parents, Don and Doris, for giving me the gift of a strong moral compass. That sense that we, that is the collective we, are all in this together and should look out and be there for one another was modeled for me throughout my childhood and has guided me throughout my life. Those of you who know me also know that my family is very important to me. My dad was a sole practitioner who practiced plaintiff's employment law. He loved being a lawyer. My mom was a litigation paralegal who also worked on the plaintiff's side. My brother Lloyd was an internist at California Hospital who taught himself medical Spanish so he could better communicate with his patients. And my sister Nancy also works in development and has been an incredible mentor to me throughout my career, not to mention the best sister ever. As I mentioned in the video, there are many pieces to the puzzle that make Bet Tzedek great. Kudos to my colleagues on Bet Tzedek's operations team, in HR and finance. They are the people who literally make sure our lights are on. And my awesome external affair teammates, who each year work so hard to raise the money that fuels Bet Tzedek's work and who tell the stories of that work to the world. They're fantastic. But wait, there's more. Bet Tzedek's board of directors. I've had the pleasure of getting to know and nag many of our board members throughout the years, specifically around the dinner gala. They're invested, hardworking, involved, and very generous. And a special thanks to my friend and our new board chair, Samantha Millman, who I met the first week I started at Bet Tzedek 16 years ago. I'm also thrilled to have this opportunity to thank our generous donors. From our individual donors to our foundation partners, your support helps make it possible for our work to get done. Thank you for making Bet Tzedek part of your philanthropy year after year. We need all of those puzzle pieces to make Bet Tzedek work. In this room tonight is a microcosm of Bet Tzedek's puzzle. My deepest thanks to all of you for the ways in which you contribute to making Los Angeles a more just community for all. You're fantastic. Now, I recognize I come from a place of privilege. I know, unlike many of our clients, that I will receive my paycheck every 2 weeks for the work that I do. Unlike the clients Matt and his team members help, I don't have to fight to receive my wages. Unlike most of our clients, I have great benefits that include health insurance, sick time, and holidays and vacation days. The challenge that low-wage workers face are something I or most of us here tonight will never experience. Did you know that Los Angeles holds the sad distinction of being the wage theft capital in the United States? An estimated $26 million a week is stolen from low-wage workers. That's almost $1.5 billion a year. Together, we must continue working for justice for all. Now, in this moment, I am living a development officer's dream. I have a captive audience of 900 people, and I get to kick off Bet Tzedek's Text to Give campaign. And I would have been thrown out of the Development Officers Guild if I didn't ask you to make a gift tonight. Can you please take out your cell phones? I'm waiting. Now, just text Justice50 to 41444. If you're having any difficulties, technical difficulties like I am right now, please let a Bet Tzedek staffer know and they'll assist. There is also a buck slip on your table with the Wi-Fi info for this ballroom and even a QR code that will take you directly to the donation page. Or if you want to go old school, we've left donation envelopes on each table, real paper, to fill out with an actual pen. Our goal tonight is to raise $125,000, which will enable us to fully fund an attorney position, salary and benefits, and that attorney will have an impact on hundreds of individuals and families throughout Los Angeles every year. Thank you for being part of Bet Tzedek's legacy. Finally, I'm so lucky to have a table filled with people who mean the world to me. Thank you all for being here tonight and for always cheering me on. And hello, and I love you to my sister Nancy, who is watching via FaceTime from Massachusetts. I want to give a special shout out to my 90-year-old mother, Doris, who, by the way, is a former Bet Tzedek volunteer. And who is probably mad that I mentioned her age. Mom inspires me with her humor, her strength, and her joie de vivre. And while my darling father and brother are no longer here, I know that not only would they be so proud of me, but they would also both respect and support the impactful work that Bet Tzedek does so well. Many thanks again for this incredible honor. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Thank you.
Please give a very warm welcome to outgoing Bet Tzedek Board Chair, Linda Michelson.
Well, good evening and welcome. I am Linda Michelson, Chair of the Board, and I just want to say how thrilled we are to have so many of you here with us to celebrate our 50th anniversary. There's hope in this room, even as outside these doors, the world is chaotic and fraught. We are dealing with a divided country, grappling with women's rights, transgender rights, religious freedoms for all faiths, freedom of expression, among so many other liberties at stake, not to mention the wars raging around the world. Yet, in some ways, the challenges we face in 2024 are similar to the challenges that our founders faced when they started Bet Tzedek in 1974. They did not run from the chaos, they embraced it. They committed to defeating injustice one person at a time. It is truly restorative to my spirit to be in this room surrounded by a community of people who are all similarly united by the belief that justice should be available to all, and who have all taken action to make that belief a reality for so many. And so let us turn to the celebration of 50 years of Bet Tzedek, the House of Justice. As others have done, I invite you to walk back to 1974. Were you born? Where were you in 1974? For me, I was in a small town public elementary school in southern New Jersey. I remember 1974 as the first time I traveled outside the US to Sicily for my uncle's wedding and to meet so many relatives for the first time. In 1974, Los Angeles, like the rest of the country, was rocked by shifting social movements, unrest, a war in Vietnam, and dealing with the blows of inflation. It was in the midst of all of this that Louise Lainer and Stan Levy called together a group of committed friends to set up shop and provide free legal services to the Angelenos who are most at need. Later in the program, we'll hear more about how Bet Tzedek launched in 1974, but I want to take this opportunity to toast our founders for their vision and inspiration. We're so fortunate to have some of them here tonight and to have Stan and Luis every day providing us with their wisdom and perspectives. Please, Stan, Luis, and any other founder who is here tonight, please stand so that we may raise a glass and toast you. I also have the honor to acknowledge the support from all of you and the extraordinary family of Bet Tzedek donors. We would be unable to serve those 80,000 individuals that we serve every year without our donors. I would like to acknowledge and give special thanks this evening to our top sponsors, Edison International, the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles, Munger, Tolson Olson, Latham & Watkins, and Working Nation. Thank you. A special thank you is also in order for our board of directors. It has been my privilege to chair this incredible group of women and men who tirelessly provide Bet Tzedek their guidance and their personal support and the support of their firms and companies. I'm excited now to pass the baton to my board colleague, Samantha Millman, our incoming board chair. Thank you too to the Gala Host Committee. It is because of your dedication every single year that this gala is such a success. Without your incredible efforts, we would not be able to power the many programs that we do. In addition, the day in and day out work of helping those 80,000 Angelenos takes a team of passionate, smart, and caring Bet Tzedek staff, 120 in total. These lawyers, paralegals, and professionals are on the front lines of this work, and thank you all. Incredibly, their efforts are multiplied 10 times over every day by the more than 1,300 volunteers and pro bono lawyers who donate nearly 35,000 hours annually to Bet Tzedek. To everyone in this room, yes, please. To everyone in this room who has volunteered for Bet Tzedek, including our board, I want to say thank you on behalf of our clients. In fact, if you're here and you have volunteered, or you're on our board, or you work at Bet Tzedek, please stand so that we can applaud you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for your support of Bet Tzedek. Thank you for volunteering. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for everything you have done and for everything that you will continue to do to support our mission. There are great things ahead for Bet Tzedek as we head into the next 50 years, and we are so grateful that you will all be with us. Last month, we reached out to 5 of the law firms that donated the most pro bono hours helping our clients in 2023, and we asked them to share some of their stories. You may have watched some of these videos during the cocktail reception, and we'll share a few more during dinner. But please join me now in watching a teaser about the Angelenos who have been impacted by their work. Thank you again to the attorneys and paralegals at Blank Rome, Kirkland and Ellis, Latham Watkins, Manette Phelps and Phillips, and O'Melveny and Myers for telling these stories. Enjoy dinner.
Our rent were cheap. When I first moved in, it was $550 until Mr. Graham took over the building.
At that time in my life, everything was really, really scary and really, really stressful.
We never knew anything about the Holocaust growing up. It was never discussed. But we always knew something was different because we had no cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents.
Well, somehow we heard about the reparation. My sister and I tried to fill out forms on our own, but everything was in German.
Quería venir porque allá ya es bien peligroso con nosotros. Yo me vine aquí a estudiar para tener un mejor futuro.
More than 100 years ago, Mr. O'Melveny believed that in order to be civic leaders in what was then the small town of Los Angeles, we had to be involved in the community.
As a member of Latham's local pro bono committee, I can say that we are very committed to pro bono. As a signatory to the pro bono challenge, we encourage all of our U.S. attorneys to try to at least meet 60 hours.
Well, you know, Blank Rome got started 75 plus years ago by a bunch of people who knew what it was like to be excluded. It was very difficult for Jewish lawyers to get jobs in a number of the white shoe firms. And so over the years, we have had a really intense commitment to pro bono.
Kirkland has a very strong commitment to pro bono work, over 150,000 hours across the firm last year, but I think the most stark thing that shows its commitment is just kind of the expectation that you need to bring the same sort of intensity and attention to detail that you do for all of your other clients.
Pro bono and community involvement are core values of the firm, and they have been so ever since its founding in 1965.
I first came to the U.S. as a political refugee when I was 7, so I am always trying to figure out ways that I can pay it forward. So since I started at Latham, immigration cases have been a big part of my pro bono practice.
Our representation was twofold. First, getting her appointed as the legal guardian for her younger brother, which is an important step in getting that special immigrant juvenile status.
Bet Tzedek and Manat and our other law firm partners realized that Holocaust survivors were not going to be able to access these funds on their own. And having trained attorneys walk survivors through the pretty complicated facts was necessary.
His goal was to have the tenants leave so that he could bring in new tenants who would pay increased rent. And we realized that Michael Graham was doing this to lots of tenants in the buildings. And so we made the determination to bring an affirmative lawsuit against Michael Graham.
As the process goes on, as we get to speak with each other, what then hopefully happens, they're not just come in, get papers, leave. They start asking us questions, the things that they have on their mind about what this entails. And you also know how grateful they are, because let me tell you, they're going to tell you. They will absolutely tell you how grateful they are.
Having somebody else just help me through that, I mean, it changed everything. I was able to really get a lot of the hard, nitty-gritty stuff of my transition dealt with pretty early on.
These people have helped my dad and my family so much, and we are so appreciative. Without you guys, I don't think we would have gotten the money from Germany.
When he gave us the envelope, the excitement was overwhelming. At one point, I was just shaking, because I haven't seen that kind of money.
There was not a dry eye in that conference room. It was a moment unlike any other I've had as a lawyer. It's what pro bono work and being a lawyer is all about.
Presenting the Rose L. Schiff Commitment to Justice Award, we are pleased to introduce the General Manager of the Angel City Football Club, Angela Hucles Mangano.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is both an honor and a privilege to present the Rose L. Schiff Commitment to Justice Award to the founders and incredible staff of Angel City Football Club. As a former U.S. women's national team player, Angel City has allowed me to find my way back to soccer, first as a founding investor, alongside 13 other former national team players, and currently as the general manager of the club. The beautiful game of football transcends borders, cultures, and backgrounds, uniting people from all walks of life in a common pursuit of passion, excellence, but beyond the field, it also serves as a powerful platform for social change, a catalyst for driving progress and advancing causes that matter most to us as individuals and as a community. The way in which our founders and staff, led by team co-founder and President Julie Ehrman, who is accepting this award tonight, have embodied these ideals and put them at the forefront of everything we do at Angel City, and it has been incredible to be a part of. In just 2 years, we have put over $2.2 million back into the community, including providing over $1.2 million and meals to food insecure people in Los Angeles, distributing over 237 tons of fresh produce, trained 164 female coaches, mobilized over 1,300 volunteers, and the list goes on. I am so excited to share with all of you this video that we put together that really tells the story of the club's impact in Los Angeles.
We at Angel City Football Club are thinking differently about football. This is not just a game, this is bigger than a game. We want to build an organization where mission and capital can coexist, and that started from day one.
LA's new soccer team.
It is backed by a star-studded group of women investors, creating the largest female lead ownership group in professional sports.
Our city was so ready for women's soccer.
A new docu-series on HBO Max chronicles the launch of the women's pro team.
Sports Team of the Year, Angel City FC.
Jennifer is also a founding investor of the Angel City Football Club.
Number 5, watch Sidney LaRue.
Bicycle kick!
How about that?
Our mission is to have a positive impact on the Los Angeles community, to lead toward positive change, and to bring community together.
We're playing for something that's bigger than, the game on the field. We're playing for what this club symbolizes.
You're going to see our team and our amazing supporters doing their best to make as much impact as we can in the community.
We believe in it, not just because we played, but because of all the women who came before us that laid the groundwork.
That this is our legacy to help continue to grow the game, to grow the sport, and we can't think of a more fabulous place to do that.
Giselle, youngest player ever to sign with Angel City.
I never thought this would happen.
The whole goal is to uplift these women and value them the way they deserve to be valued.
Everything that this club stands for, I think, when you, again, stand at BMO under the lights with fans, and you just have to take a second to look at where women's sports and the game has come from and where it's going, and just feel how much passion and how much pride you have to represent the club.
Let's go, LA!
Vamos, go! It's an exciting new day.
Angel City earns its playoff win!
Angel City flying high today! I love this team! I love our club! I love this city! But we're not done! We are not done yet! Welcome to our house.
Anybody want to play some football? Bet Tzedek clearly recognizes this impact and shares this vision, working tirelessly to promote justice, protect rights, and empower individuals and communities to overcome obstacles and achieve their full potential. Therefore, it is my honor and pleasure to present my friend and colleague, Julie Ehrman, with the Rose L. Schiff Commitment to Justice Award.
I'm not gonna lie, I see that video maybe once every week and I continually get emotional. The mission of Angel City is just so much bigger than being a football club. And I think that's why we stand here today. We started Angel City with this idea to drive towards equity, not to win championships, not to build a dynasty on a team or on the field or a legacy off the field, but truly to drive towards equity and use sport to bend the curve towards equity, to create a cultural shift, to bring people together through a sense of community and belonging, to do something bigger than just win championship rings. The idea of Angel City from the beginning was to build an organization where mission and capital could coexist, where we could make a positive impact in our community. And Angela has spoken to that. From day one, we have focused on making impact and driving revenue and being a positive role model for young kids, and we do not sacrifice one for the other. We never choose one for the other, ever. Angela, thank you so much for speaking on behalf of Angel City. Angela is truly a beautiful, special woman, and I'm joined by three incredible colleagues, but specifically Catherine Davila, who heads our community team, and Chris Fajardo, who runs all of our impact programming. What they do is nothing short of magical. They put on 250 events last year. They have put $2.5 million to work into over 25 different organizations. It's truly remarkable how they are in the community every single day, driving towards equity, which has nothing to do with soccer, but we get to use this incredible platform of soccer to affect the change. So I want to thank you so much for this incredible honor. I had the opportunity to spend time with Art and learn more about Rose Schiff and the impact that she put into the community. So to be standing up here today is really, truly an honor. They asked me to say something about 1974. And it was a very monumental sort of milestone year for me. At one point in 1974, I took my first breath. So we're not going to say when, because that's when I start counting backwards. I become Benjamin Button. But on behalf of everybody at Angel City Football Club, our staff and players, I want to express our deepest gratitude to everyone at Bet Tzedek for recognizing Angel City's work in the community. The impact of your work cannot be overstated, and it deeply resonates with our mission at Angel City. At Angel City, we believe in the power of community and the responsibility of using our platform to create positive change. Since our inception, which was just in 2020, again, going backwards. That was just in 2020. We have been driven by a vision to set new standards for our community and engagement through sports. Our efforts span vital areas such as education, food security, sports equality, LGBTQ+ aid, female entrepreneurship support, and gender equality, all of which I aim to uplift and empower the diverse fabric of Los Angeles. We've created an impact platform that stands for impact, stands for equity, underpinned by essentials and education. We want to impact young girls. We want to have a positive impact on our BIPOC youth. We want to have a positive impact in those that have been left behind or don't feel that they have access because they can't afford it. The synergy between Bet Tzedek's mission and ours is clear. Both organizations strive to create a more equitable and just society. We see the transformative power of advocacy in every legal battle Bet Tzedek fights, just as we see it in every initiative we undertake. This shared commitment to justice and equality makes tonight's recognition all the more meaningful. As we celebrate this honor, let us also recommit ourselves to the hard work still ahead. We are not there yet, and in fact, At Angel City, we know that it is going to take time to get to equity, but we want to be part of that journey, and we want to be leading that journey. And we have such incredible partners with you in doing that. Together, our organizations, we can continue to break down barriers and build bridges towards a more inclusive future, to stand with you and learn from you and support you in your indispensable work. I'm so glad to know so many of you lawyers in the room that have supported Angel City in our last 3 years, and it's just a privilege to know that you are also supporting this organization as well. This award is such a testament to the belief that together we can make a profound difference in the lives of so many. Thank you again for this prestigious award and for allowing us, Angel City Football Club, the ability to stand shoulder to shoulder with the past recipients of this award who've set such a high bar for their commitment and service. We are going to go forward, inspired tonight by you and all that you have done in these last 50 years and all we know you're going to do in the next 50 years. And we will uphold the legacy of the Rose L. Schiff Commitment to Justice Award at the highest level. Thank you so much on behalf of myself, my founders, Natalie Portman and Karen Nortman, my incredible team, and our group of players. Thank you so much.
Los Angeles in the late 60s, early 70s was changing.
We were going through the Vietnam War. There was lots of protesting.
The anti-war movement, the Great Boycott, and all kinds of things.
And it was also a period of service to the community. It goes back to John F. Kennedy's inaugural speech.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Out of that came the Peace Corps, the Civil Rights Movement, and legal services.
Bet Tzedek is a nonprofit legal services organization that provides free help to low-income individuals across LA County. We have served about 1 million individuals and families, providing legal assistance from direct representation to impact litigation and policy advocacy work. Stan Levy and Luis Lainer are two of our founders, and they're an integral part of Bet Tzedek.
At the time, there was one area of Los Angeles which did not have a legal services program, and that was in the Beverly Fairfax area.
There were a lot of people here who needed some help. Many of those people were elderly. A lot of them didn't speak English, and you could just by looking around, you could see that something wasn't right.
In 1970, the census had shown that there were Jewish people that were living below poverty. And it sort of startled the group that this was a fact. And we wanted to find out how could we help. And since most of everybody we were talking about were attorneys, we felt that we should try to deal with their legal problems.
The whole concept of pro bono legal services wasn't really out there yet. And I think to a certain extent, we were at the forefront of that. The mission was to help people who don't have the wherewithal to go to Century City and get a 24th floor attorney, nothing against the 24th floor lawyers, to help them. Real simple.
We didn't know what we were doing at the time when we started this, and our hopes were that we would get to something. I don't think we had any idea that we would attain these levels.
It was an incredible grassroots effort. We put in a lot of hours. We finally got an office on Fairfax.
Everybody paid $5 a month for the rent and the phones, and that's what we did.
Here we were, a dozen or so lawyers, sitting there in a storefront that looked like something out of one of those 1970s shows about the eager lawyers out to change the world, waiting for somebody to walk through the door and needed help. And somebody did.
We had a whole bunch of cases and right away began to be successful.
So all of a sudden, more people are contacting us, And then Louis became the full-time director.
Louis was relentless and banging on doors and just cajoling people into contributing. We were creative in that way, figuring out how to go and get those funds and how to make this project just grow and grow and grow.
From the very beginning, we had a very strong policy to represent everybody in Los Angeles, regardless of race, creed, color, it didn't matter.
I remember some people would say, well, you know, I'm not Jewish, but I have a problem with it. You got a problem, we're here.
I grew up Catholic. It wasn't until coming to Bet Tzedek that I started to become more and more aware of a deeper reason as to why we are engaged in this work. It is not just about being in legal aid, but it is about that pursuit of justice being ingrained in us.
Tzedek, tzedek tirdov, justice, justice shall you pursue. That message spread.
There is a feeling that we have to do good things to make the world better. And this is, okay, here's a chance to make the world better right in our backyard.
People want to help. And that's the humanity of man.
Today, our organization, our staff is very diverse, and I think one of the reasons why is, in fact, because of this concept in Judaism of not turning away a stranger from a strange land. For many of our staff, that is fundamental to the way that they want to practice the law.
The first time I walked into the current offices on Wilshire Boulevard and looking at this place and all these employees and all these volunteers and thinking it's an honor and a privilege to just be part of it all.
In the first year, we probably served a couple hundred people. We have now served 1 million people in the 50 years of our existence. It is amazing that we have, done that.
That's where it just gets mind-blowing. We've served 1 million clients, and it was a dozen or so people around the table.
If my jaw could drop, it would. If my mind could blow up like a cartoon, it would.
We've helped maybe 1 million people over all these years. It's mind-boggling.
Anything else, guys?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. What's going on?
I don't usually think about these things, but yeah.
It's incredibly humbling to think about the legacy and the work that the founders did in establishing Bet Tzedek. We are working hard every day to make them proud by making sure that we are providing access to justice to those most in need.
It has been absolutely phenomenal to watch the leadership of the organization expand the vision. Garment workers, hotel workers, home health workers, all of the invisible population who have never really had a voice until now.
It may take on a different complexion. You may have a different clientele. And this is something that's really important and critical.
I mean, it has really taken one of the things we talked about at the very beginning and weren't sure we'd ever be able to accomplish, of being of service to the entire community and making a difference for the entire community. And it's all due to this group of nutty lawyers who thought they could do something 50 years ago. And look what we did. We did it.
Join us in welcoming Bet Tzedek President and CEO Diego Cartagena and Bet Tzedek Housing Protection Attorney Taylor Amstutz.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Golden Globe for Best Documentary. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't help it, sorry. That was a wonderful, wonderful piece. In 1974, I wasn't born, but my parents were dating and dreaming of a life they could build and the family they could raise if they could escape the civil unrest in El Salvador, where I was born, and make it to the US. Everyone loves a good origin story, right? That's why we spent months working with the incredible filmmakers from Working Nation, and Emmy-nominated, yes, Emmy nominated, so someday this envelope will open and we'll have your name. Emmy nominated media nonprofit founded by Bet Tzedek board member Art Builder. And during that time, we combed through archives to document the defining moment 50 years ago when Stan, Luis, and their friends launched Bet Tzedek. The end product was the stunning short film we just watched. Our thanks to Art, Melissa Panzer, and the rest of the Working Nation team. Thank you for putting that together. Now, I'm telling you about this because what we learned working on the film was quite surprising. Each founder had their own take on Bet Tzedek's origin story. A group of people, many of them attorneys, with varying opinions. Who would have thought? Some worried about gentrification decimating communities and wanted to engage in policy advocacy. Others focused on defending tenants against evictions, and still others worked on connecting vulnerable Holocaust survivors to services.
You know, Diego, you may not recall 1974, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Muhammad Ali was at the height of his career. Benny and the Jets topped the charts. My parents were in elementary school. Hearing so many origin stories put us in a bit of a panic. How would we tell the story of our launch when there were so many different stories about why Bet Tzedek was founded? Then we realized this was actually perfect because it reflects Bet Tzedek's strength, or its superpower, if you will. Our founders were community members with a shared conviction to heal the world. And while the needs and how to best address them might vary depending on who you talk to, at the center of it all, there was the Jewish tenet of Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdof, justice, justice, you shall pursue. This was the foundation for a house of justice, whose doors are open to all Angelinos seeking justice, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, gender, or immigration status.
These ideals guided and strengthened Bet Tzedek over the years as people and institutions have joined us in the pursuit of justice. You see this in the stories behind the diverse organizations that decided to work with us for the opportunity to partner with a legal powerhouse to bring justice to their congregants, their medical patients, their students, and their members. Take partners like the Garment, Filipino, and Car Wash Worker Centers that have worked with our employment rights team to serve low-wage workers regardless of their immigration status. Since launching, our team has recovered tens of millions in stolen wages and used their experience to draft and pass groundbreaking garment worker protection legislation for all of California. And it's here that I want to take a moment to pause and acknowledge a very special guest that we have with us tonight, Ms. Dolores Huerta. Señora Huerta, we engage in this work with the boldness, passion, and compassion you taught all of us through your fight to create a more just society.
For our supporters, their Bet Tzedek stories are about harnessing their generosity to deliver justice for all. Like Kingsley and Kingsley, whose story involved designating Bet Tzedek to receive one of the firm's Cypre Awards, which funds our fight against wage theft. For the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles, their story is about being one of our first and most long-standing partners, supporting our ongoing work to ensure that Holocaust survivors can age with dignity. We're trying to help them secure reparations payments and meet their estate planning needs all at the same time. The lessons learned helping survivors draft these estate plans led Bet Tzedek to secure funding from LA County to provide estate planning services to low-income families across the region. Together with law firm volunteers, we now engage in work that gives families weighed down by a history of segregation and redlining a chance to build intergenerational wealth.
They say you heal the world by repairing one client's world. From retiring partners who volunteered at senior centers 40 years ago to new associates who interned with us just 2 summers ago, volunteers join us for an opportunity to heal the world for our clients. Then you have volunteers like Mike Madigan and his colleagues at Hogan Lovells who volunteer to heal the world for thousands of Los Angelinos who are homeowners and were at risk of losing their homes after falling prey to a green energy home improvement program. Thanks to Hogan's work, our clients recently secured a $12 million settlement. Eli Wiesel noted that while there is no word for hero in Hebrew, he felt there was one that came close. That word was the basis for the word justice, tzedek. To Mr. Wiesel, the pursuit of justice was a heroic act. By that standard and many others, Mike and the folks working on that case are heroes, as are the homeowners who brought the case and every other client who stands up to injustice with us over the last 50 years. And we have stood with over 1 million of these heroes. And now, that special moment where we invite you to be a hero by donating to our Text to Give campaign and help us meet that $125,000 goal. Every year, thousands more clients come to Bet Tzedek seeking justice with the help of staff like Taylor.
Now I know what you're thinking. When I heard $125,000 at last year's gala, I thought about switching to that job. That was until I realized that this also includes benefits, such as retirement and medical insurance. So needless to say, I am still on the homeowner protection team, and I have the absolute privilege of serving clients like Maria. Maria is an elderly, disabled veteran who was at risk of losing her home to foreclosure. She had served our country, but now she was worried that she was out of options and would end up homeless. Not only did Bet Tzedek stop the foreclosure, our estate planning team finalized her mother's probate so title could finally pass to Maria after decades in limbo, while our senior center addressed fraudulent credit card charges, and one of our social workers helped her resolve delinquent utilities. We are all so honored to have had the opportunity to change a real-life hero's world for the better. Thank you.
Folks, the donations you make and the funds you give tonight through the Text to Give campaign will ensure that the doors of justice are open and that staff like Taylor are able to right the wrongs and ensure that justice prevails. So please, take out your phones. You're always admonished, put your phone away. Tonight, you can take out that phone and you can help us reach that goal. Text Justice 50 to 41444. And as you heard earlier, there's a buck slip on your table with Wi-Fi info and even a QR code for those of you that are hip and technologically savvy. You can scan and it'll take you to our donation page. And if you're having trouble getting a signal, let a Bet Tzedek staff member know. You can pull me aside. I'm happy to help you, and we will help you make that donation. Or you can use the envelopes on the table. Thank you all, and we will be back after dinner.
Please welcome to the stage incoming Bet Tzedek Board Chair Samantha Millman and Bet Tzedek Board Member Daryl Brown.
Wow. Yeah. In 1974, as a 20-year-old, I know some of you are doing the math, I was embarking on a career in banking. And I found solace and inspiration in those years in the rhythms of R&B music. Artists like Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, the Rolling Stones filled my home with soulful music that addressed the struggles and the triumphs of that era. Distinguished guests and cherished members of our community, today marks a milestone in the journey of our beloved Bet Tzedek as we celebrate 50 years of dedication to social justice. I am filled with pride and excitement. Pride as we recognize the impact of visionaries, Louis Lainer, Stan Levy, and their colleagues who laid the foundation for Bet Tzedek, igniting a flame of hope that has burned brightly ever since. And we cannot forget the support of Louis' late wife, Dr. Lee Lainer, whose dedication and belief in our mission helped propel us forward. Let's give these folks a big hand, please. Yeah, excitement because standing beside me is not just a colleague of Bet Tzedek, but my dear friend Samantha Millman, the new board chair. I've known her for 25 years. As our newest board chair, Samantha represents the beautiful phrase, l'adore vador, because even as we celebrate 50 years of service to Los Angeles, we look towards our next 50 years and celebrate the passing from one generation to the next years of work that fulfills the profound declaration, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdoff, justice, justice, we shall pursue.
In 1974, I was not even a speck in this universe. But my family's origin story with Bet Tzedek began 2 years later, when my parents were set up on a blind date. And around the same time, my dad found himself in Bet Tzedek's Fairfax offices on the receiving end of a powerful elevator speech by Terry Friedman, Bet Tzedek's young executive director.
All right.
A few years later, or weeks later rather, he joined Bet Tzedek's board, where he still serves, and today he's watching me carry the torch forward as incoming board chair. And as an aside, today is his birthday. So if you see him,
happy birthday.
at this table right here, make sure to wish Ken Millman a happy birthday. And as a moment of personal privilege, I have grown up with this organization. Bet Tzedek was like the other sibling in my household. And so to be here tonight, taking the role of board chair, next to someone like Daryl Brown, who I cannot believe this man knows my name, let alone says he's been my friend for 25 years, celebrating with Stan and Luis and board members who have known me since I was a teenager and perhaps using a fake ID to get into the Justice Ball. This is a very special moment for a very special organization, and I cannot tell you what it means to me to be here tonight. As the Jewish board chair of a Jewish organization, we can't ignore the fact that both locally and globally, the current landscape is as fertile a breeding ground for anti-Semitism as I have ever seen. Bet Tzedek was born out of the Jewish community and founded on the fundamental premise that the pursuit of justice is our moral obligation. This is our origin story, this is our identity, and this is what makes us unique among our sibling organizations. And Bet Tzedek, embedded in our mission, is that while our Jewish values laid the foundation, those values are not exclusive to the Jewish community. We build and maintain this house of justice with community partners who share our belief in justice for all, and our doors are open for everyone. Last week, after returning from a visit to Columbia, Rabbi Sharon Brous asked her congregation, what would a movement look like that is fueled by belonging and shared purpose? Looking out tonight, the answer is right here. 50 years after our founding, Bet Tzedek remains proudly anchored to its Jewish identity and its values, and at the same time, our clients, staff, and supporters are proudly anchored and bringing their diverse identities, cultures, and lived experiences into the house, as you heard throughout the night. This is Bet Tzedek's strength. As we look to the future of Bet Tzedek, we need your partnership, allyship, and support more than ever to build on that strength. We have the ability to harness that strength and many others to build a more just Los Angeles, but we cannot do it alone. And so tonight, we are excited to launch the public phase of our 50th anniversary comprehensive fundraising campaign, Carrying the Torch Forward, with an audacious goal of, wait for it, raising $50 million over the next 2 years.
Wow, Samantha, that's phenomenal. The way you describe Bet Tzedek reminds us all that that moment 50 years ago, when Bet Tzedek launched, was more than a moment. It was, and to borrow from Lin-Manuel Miranda's of Hamilton fame, wasn't a moment, it was a movement. 50 years later, we have already touched the lives of over 1 million individuals. But there's more to do. Because for every one person that we help, there are about 9 more who need an advocate. And Bet Tzedek is the agency to bridge that gap. Our commitment to this comprehensive fundraising campaign will ensure Bet Tzedek is prepared for the next 50 years of pursuing justice by deepening the impact of groundbreaking programs, by expanding and strengthening our community, and by pressing for broad systems change.
I'm excited to announce that to date, generous donors have already committed $22 million to this effort. When I support Bet Tzedek, I'm giving voice to my values and putting them into action. Tonight, I'm not just going to put my voice to my values, I'm going to turn up the volume. Brian and I are not ones to be public with our charitable giving. In fact, the idea of announcing a gift in front of everyone tonight is making my palms sweat. But we announce our pledge tonight in hopes that you will be inspired to join us to dig deep and make a pledge that's meaningful to you and gives voice to your values and maybe honors someone important in your life. So in honor of my parents and their decades of commitment to Bet Tzedek, in memory of Brian's father and my grandparents and my brother Daniel, Brian and I are pledging $100,000 to carry the torch forward, and we urge you, and I'm not doing it for applause, I'm doing this because I am a mid-career person, so if I can do that, so can you. Please, when we reach out, dig deep, be generous, think about how your gift can shape the next 50 years of this organization and 50 years of justice for all.
Over the next year, we'll be reaching out to many of you personally. We'll host opportunities for us to come together to discuss future plans for the organization, and we will work together to continue to build this amazing institution into what Los Angeles needs, healing the world through the pursuit of justice.
Thank you all for joining us on this momentous occasion and in this movement. And here's to 50 more years of making a difference together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're wonderful.
Presenting tonight's Louise Lainer Founders Award is Chair of Aiken Gump Strauss Hauer and Feld, Kim Coopersmith.
Well, you know which side of the 1974 I'm on. So in 1974, tonight's honoree and I were leading uncannily similar lives without knowing it. We were both in 9th grade, growing up in none too scintillating Long Island, New York, which is, I'm sure, familiar to some of you. And as an added twist, in both of our high school classes were the people we would ultimately marry and stay married to. In fact, we both celebrated our 40th anniversaries last year. To Barb and all the Umanoff family here tonight, I am truly honored to have the privilege of introducing Adam Umanoff as the Louise Lainer Award recipient. It wasn't until about 30 years later that Adam and I actually met from 9th grade, but you can understand why when we finally did meet, it felt like old friends reuniting. I met Adam when I was recruiting him to join Aiken in 2011. Adam did what he has done to so many. He totally wowed me with his combination of smarts, thoughtfulness, good humor, and for those of you that are from the large law firm world, it was lateral love at first sight. Our firm was beginning our entry into the world of clean energy, and Adam's knowledge and standing, coupled with his decency and commitment, made for a great fit. Adam left several years later to join Edison, and it is a testament to the strength of our friendship that our friendship has continued unabated until tonight. And it has been incredibly meaningful to have Adam in my life, just as it has been for so many in the Bet Tzedek community. I want to share 3 thoughts about Adam. First, and you've heard the theme tonight, he cares in a way we need people to care. His commitment to Bet Tzedek is palpable. Everyone I have spoken to speaks of Adam's all-in contribution as a diligent, engaged, questioning board member, as a fundraiser extraordinaire, and as an ambassador for this truly wonderful organization. There is a lot of need out in many, many communities, and we need more people to care deeply, as Adam Umanoff does, and he is a shining example to all of us. Second, Adam is committed to the environment, and it is an earnest and fervent commitment. It goes back to way before many of us were making a professional or personal commitment to the environment, or to thinking about the planet and the future we are leaving for the next generation. I've been asked a lot of questions over the years when new laterals join. I need a larger office. I didn't know I would be sharing an assistant. I need one all to myself. You understand the idea. Adam called on the first day, and he asked me a really different question. Could I get all of the copiers and printers at Aiken Gum to be set for double-sided copying and printing? He was on to something well before the rest of us. It was a great question, and the answer is yes, you can. Last and most importantly, Adam is a mensch who puts his family above all. What better definition of a man is there? The Umanoffs are a close, loving, supportive, and growing family, and they are well represented tonight. And Adam, you have so much to be proud of in the example you have set for them and all of us. What I love is that the wonder that is Adam Umanoff is obvious to everyone, including the littlest members of the Adam Umanoff family. So Adam's wife, Barb, told me a fitting story. Barb said that she was taking care of one of the little grandsons, and as she was changing Nicholas, she said, as grandmas do, "Grandma loves you." Nick didn't miss a beat, and he responded, "I love Grandpa." So, Barb, I know that Nicholas loves you too, but I think it's fair to say that your precocious grandson speaks for all of us when he says, "I love Grandpa." I love you, Adam, and I hope you feel the love in this room from all of us who admire you, admire your heart, and admire all you have done for this great organization. We'd like to share with you all a short video that the Edison International team put together about Adam. Thank you.
Edison is one of the largest corporate philanthropic contributors in Southern California, and it's important to our company, it's important to our shareholders, and it's important to me personally.
Quiero entrar al ejército y espero lograrlo.
It's just everything to know that you're able to help someone who's gone through so much and who has so much potential and promise.
En mi futuro quisiera como estudiar o trabajar en componimiento de coches.
When I do pro bono work like this, I think more than anything, it just lights the fire to do more.
Our lawyers do a lot of pro bono work for the large and small pro bono legal service agencies here in Southern California, including Bet Tzedek, on whose board I sit.
When we take the oath to become lawyers, we do make a commitment that we will provide pro bono services. And that's something I think everyone in the law department takes very seriously.
Antonio came to the United States from Guatemala as a minor and alone. He made that arduous trek out of a necessity.
Nací en Guatemala. Estar allá en mi país fue un poco difícil, ya que tuve que trabajar en el campo, en la construcción. A veces reprobé grados por trabajar y ayudar a mi mamá con los gastos, ayudar a comprarle la ropa a mis hermanos y a mí.
At age 11, Antonio, rather than going to school, being a kid, began working. These jobs were tough jobs by adult standards, things like working in cornfields, carrying bricks for bricklayers, building concrete blocks. He and his siblings were forced to really be their own parents. Special immigrant juvenile status, at its core, is about protecting vulnerable children. Congress created this as a humanitarian protection to ensure that immigrant children that arrive in the U.S. after suffering parental abuse, neglect, and abandonment have a pathway to legal permanent residence.
Fernando's from Guatemala, and unfortunately, the circumstances of his early life were terrible.
Nosotros, bueno, yo de donde vengo es un lugar bien humilde. A veces no teníamos que comer.
At age 6, Fernando had to start doing manual labor just to earn enough money to pay for food for himself and for his mother and for his brothers and sisters.
We work with the Bet Tzedek team to petition a state court to appoint a legal guardian that can advocate for the child, ensuring that they've got access to medical care as well as education. We also asked that state court to make certain findings.
To provide the basis for the United States government in the next step to grant them this immigration benefit that can lead toward permanent status. They can eventually get a green card and eventually become citizens.
Me siento muy feliz de estar con Bet Tzedek. Estoy muy agradecido con ellos, la verdad. Ahora quiero echarle ganas a la escuela para poder graduar, ya que quiero ir al USA Army.
Our justice system shouldn't just be limited to those that can work the system. It should be open to everyone so that everyone can be treated equally.
I think you're doing it because it's for the greater good, and the greater good is that you have people living out there that are your fellow human beings, and you just take care of them. And this is one way to do it.
Bet Tzedek is such an important part of the fabric of the greater Los Angeles area, and that's something we have in common. We've been here 138 years, Bet Tzedek for now 50. I think that partnership should continue for the next century.
Everyone, please join me in welcoming Adam Umanoff to the stage as this year's Luis Lainer Founders Award recipient. Adam?
So Kim definitely knows me, and thank you, Kim, for that wonderful introduction, and thank you to the Bet Tzedek board for this tremendous honor. So 1974, I think like almost every public company general counsel of my vintage, I was a deadhead.
Yeah. As Kim mentioned, I was in high school on Long Island, traipsing up and down the East Coast, following the Grateful Dead, and hoping, praying to date a beautiful classmate who wanted very little to do with me back then, but to my good fortune, about a decade later became my partner in life. That's you, Barb. The Grateful Dead were alternative rock pioneers, and tonight I offer my sincere gratitude to two other real pioneers, Louise Lainer and Stan Levy, for constructing this house of justice, allowing so many of us to play a small part in helping make ours a more just society. Congratulations also tonight to the Angel City Football Club for your ongoing commitment to social justice. And to my friend Amy Peckner for 16 incredible years of dedication to Bet Tzedek. Well done, Amy. Receiving tonight's honor gave me time to reflect on the things I care most deeply about. Family is first. And here with me tonight is my incredible, amazing wife of 41 years. For those of you that know Barbara, you know she's not a deadhead, never was. Honey, you are someone I love, greatly admire, and respect as a career educator, spouse, mother, now grandmother. Over decades of teaching math, you've touched the lives of literally hundreds and hundreds of students, teaching not only algebra, but more importantly, how to be good, kind people. A legacy that will be with you forever, and I really love you for that. Also tonight with us is our son David and his wife Jen, daughter Kim and her husband Ben, son Brian and his wife Alexandra. Thanks to each of you for sharing this special evening with me. I couldn't be prouder of all of you. The second thing I care about deeply, and I've committed most of my professional life to, as Kim mentioned, is helping to combat climate change. And climate change is not just an environmental issue, it's a social justice issue. Lower income households are disproportionately impacted by pollution, face proportionally higher energy costs, and are least able to afford clean energy technology. You know, back in the 80s, when I started practicing, and long before renewable energy and climate change were household words, I spent that first decade in private practice, ultimately focused on renewable energy, developing and financing wind and solar projects. In the 90s, I moved into industry, first as the general counsel, and then later to run a global wind power company. And I returned to private practice in the early 2000s, where I first met my friend Kim Coopersmith. Again, Kim, thank you for that gracious introduction. And for what may be my last chapter, I found my way to Edison. And you know us as the folks who keep the lights on. What you might not know is that we are focused on helping California decarbonize to combat climate change. California must become carbon neutral by 2045, an ambitious mandate requiring a fundamental transition to clean electricity to fuel our economy. But we know we'll only succeed if this transition remains accessible and affordable to all Californians. And at Edison, we are focused on making that happen. Decarbonizing California to combat climate change is a fight worth fighting. Finally, this brings me to my commitment to giving back. Fortunately, I'm at a company where giving back has been a part of who we are and what we do for almost 140 years. Last year, we donated over $20 million to help communities tackle their most challenging issues, with 90% of our giving targeting underserved populations in our service territory. And a big thanks to our leadership, many of my colleagues whom are here this evening, including Pedro Pizarro, the CEO of Edison International, Steve Powell, the CEO of Southern California Edison, and many other members of our legal and management team. You guys are my Edison family, and I thank you for everything you do for me day in and day out. An important part of giving back is our almost 2 decades long relationship with Bet Tzedek. And our legal team has provided thousands of pro bono legal service hours to Bet Tzedek and other legal service agencies over the years. Now, one of the wonderful young men whom you met in the video you just saw is with us this evening, Antonio Gonzalez. Antonio, would you stand? A very brave young man who did something that most of us would think unimaginable. Antonio is living with his grandmother, Santos, who's here as well this evening. Santos, good evening. Living in the MacArthur Park neighborhood, where he's now attending high school and working part-time to help with family expenses, a far cry from his life in Guatemala. The other gentleman you saw this evening, Fernando, currently lives and works in Carson with his brothers Angel and Christian and his sister-in-law Kimberly, again in a safe, loving environment, much different from his circumstances in Guatemala. The Edison legal professionals who represented Antonio and Fernando are also here tonight, and I'd like them to stand and be recognized. Jared Lindsay, a senior attorney, Karen Abarca, a legal administrative assistant, represented Antonio. Senior attorney Kelly Henderson and senior paralegal Q-Dong Lee represented Fernando. And also with us tonight is Lauren Gotchke, who chairs our pro bono committee. And from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for all that you do. You and all of the Edison lawyers who make such a great commitment to Bet Tzedek and other organizations, you make us proud. Thank you. And to all the other attorneys and legal professionals here tonight who have represented a Bet Tzedek client, thank you. You have all generously donated your time to give Bet Tzedek clients a voice they never had and a pathway to a better life they never thought possible. Going forward, my hope for all of us is that we renew our individual commitments to things in life that give it meaning and positively change the lives of others. It's good for the soul. I also hope we remain committed to keeping Bet Tzedek financially strong. Please join me in supporting what Kim just announced, we just announced earlier, Bet Tzedek's $50 million Carrying the Torch Forward campaign, which will allow us to provide much needed services to an even greater number of deserving clients. And finally, I'm thrilled to celebrate Bet Tzedek's 50-year legacy with all of you tonight and look forward to 50 more years of collective commitment to providing equal justice to our most at-risk citizens. Thank you again for this tremendous honor. Drive safely home this evening, and thank you.
Please welcome Bet Tzedek board members Jeffrey Gold and John Lai.
Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the program. In 1974, I was not in law school, not in high school, but in 5th grade. I had no idea I would make it to the end of the program. Thank you for helping us celebrate 5-0. We want to take this final opportunity to applaud our honorees and to thank each of you for joining us tonight and supporting Bet Tzedek's mission.
We also want to extend a special thank you to the attorneys and staff at Bet Tzedek. Without you, none of this work would happen. You inspire us to always do good and be good to one another. It's a message that is important today as ever.
Okay, now let's talk money. With your help through tonight's Text to Give campaign, we have raised so far,
Get this, $2,353,978. Wow.
and if the math has been done correctly, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity. And with that, we want to let you know that the celebration is not over. For those who want to have one last toast of the evening, we encourage you to join the Bet Tzedek New Leadership Council after party up on the 73rd floor for the incredible views and vibes.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We invite all of you back here again next year. Our 50th year will be the start of ambitious plans, and we're eager to tell you how we've done because of your generosity. Thank you so much. Have a great night.